Shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give a double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who do rule well, and the salutation of the whole for neck. It's the brother Damawa from the GMS Cleveland branch coming back with another video, and I pray that this will be edifying, and we're going to get straight to it. So, for the people that don't know, this is Kim Iverson. All right, fine, mature thing. All right, but she, I believe she got some German and some Asian in it, right? But basically, I watch her from time to time, and like I did a video on it like 3 weeks ago, I believe. She basically exposed, right, all these white nationalists moving to her hometown, right, and basically I made a video, right, going into how the so-called white man is planning, right, on the Civil War, right, while everybody else is playing games, especially, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. They're around here still thinking that America's about to prosper, right, when these so-called white people are getting ready for war. Well, at least the ones that's in the know, right? But basically, so she had brought out a lot of information in her earlier video going into how these people are the real racists. And I knew from then she was going to get a lot of pushback. And of course, she did, right? So they've been going at it. So before I go into it more, right, let's bring out a scripture real quick, because what we're seeing, okay, is the word of the Lord, right, working on the minds of the people. All right, and it's doing exactly what he said it was going to do. Okay, but this is Mark 3:25, right? It says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand, right? And just on the surface level, that's why you don't see families, right, with that unity anymore, because they made sure to divide the man, right, against the woman, right, which eventually becomes against the child. Okay, and so that's why you see everybody trying to take on life on their own. Okay, verse 25, it says, and if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise against Satan, slack it. And if Satan, right, rise against himself and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end, right? And that's a cut to all you so-called Christians who don't know the Bible, right? Who think Satan is just a fucking person who got angel who got kicked out of heaven, and now no, Satan is a spirit. All right, he's at the top of the left hand side, right? He's responsible for all mishaps, right? He's responsible for the left hand side of things, right? Evil, darkness, and all those things. Because without the left hand side, you wouldn't have the right side. Without bad, you don't have any good, right? And without good, you don't have any bad. Okay, so Satan plays his role, but on earth he has a counterpart. He has a group of people, right, that the Lord giving him as his own, just as well as the Lord has a group of people for himself, right? And basically what you see right here, right, is the so-called Edomites, which is the so-called white man, right? He is used by Satan, right, to do Satan bidding. Okay, that's why you have them behind closed doors. Any so-called leader, any so-called top politician, any so-called Rothschild, or any so-called white man that really hold any power structure, right? He's a part of some type of cabal or some type of ritual practicing organization, right? That basically pushes agenda, right, from things that was written thousands of years ago. Okay, and they're just basically, right, trying to make Satan's kingdom, right, on earth before the Lord fully established his. Okay, but basically with these white people, we're starting to see them being divided on every level. Okay, and not just politicians, and not just if Jesus is black and all these old minor things, right? They're being divided in how they want to rule. They're being divided in how they want to treat their allies, right? They're being divided on every playing field, okay? And that's all the work of the Lord. So by them being so divided, we know that it's only a matter of time before America eventually go down. All right, so let's go to some of their divisions that they have going on. Okay, and I want to start with Tim Poole. Okay, Tim Poole is the guy on the left. All right, he's been on YouTube for a couple years now. He got a big channel, right? But these are the type of people who I was always weary of in the first place. Now, he got a couple interviews with what's his name from Chicago, Kanye West, right? Where he was catting off and basically going through a lot of those rants, right? When he was beefing with Adidas and all those things a couple years ago, and that will really broaden his name, right? But basically, he came out the under the idea of he's fighting against the 1%. Okay, that's how he built up his channel. All right, but something about this guy, about all of them, right? Just didn't like. All right, he only speak about certain things, okay, and he only goes so far. All right, so basically, Kim Iverson now is all in, right? She's all in, right? It was just a couple weeks ago, the so-called white people have been attacking her, okay, and so she's just been going all in, and basically she exposed Tim Poole for basically he took a meeting with Ned Nanhu, right? If I'm saying his name correctly, him and a lot of other influencers, right? Just a couple of days ago, and but that goes to show you that that word conspiracy, right, is not a bad word like how they try to paint. Okay, it's basically the word that tells you what they're doing, and they don't want you to catch on to it. All right, and we know that the word conspiracy goes into two or more, right, gathered together to do evil. Okay. And so Kim Iverson is going to put him on blast, and he don't like it. He don't like that, right? But that's also part of the Lord allowing people, right, to be marked, right, to know that you can't trust him, right? And it's also the Lord said that nothing was going to be hid, okay? And so let's get there real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and get into the clip. Luke, right, 12. It says, in the meantime, when there were gathered together in the innumerable multitude of people, and so much that they trod one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, right? And the majority of the people now today, right, have built their lives upon the hypocrisy that America has taught them, right? Upon the lies on lies on lies, to the point where now people are totally protecting the wrong thing. Okay, it says, for there is nothing covered that should not be revealed, neither hid that should not be known. Okay, and so in the time that we in, the Lord is lifting up the skirt on Babylon, all right, which is America. Okay, so the Lord is letting things that they probably have gotten away with, right, through their media, or just the people believing the stories that these so-called people tell you, right? All these things have been found out to be lies, right? Some of the biggest conspiracies have been found out to be untrue, right? To the point now that where soon they do anything or try to do anything hidden, right, or behind closed doors, it's being found out. All right, and that's the will of the Lord, man. okay, which is going to ultimately make these people come down to turn off the internet, right? But it's not going to help them, okay. But right now, the Lord is tarnishing, right, these people's name, right? He's tarnishing their reputation, right, and he's making people question, right, and doubt, right, the authenticity of these people, right, which is going to push them in a huge reverse, right, right back to the truth of what we've been saying about the matter, right, that these people are not the Israelites, these people are not the children of God, right, and they stole the land, right, and they need to be punished, right, because that's what it comes down to, okay. But it says, for nothing is covered that should not be revealed, neither hid that should not be known, right? Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness should be heard in the light, and that which is have spoken in the ear in the closets should be proclaimed upon the house steps. Okay, so that's the Lord letting you know, telling you that whatever these people do or say behind closed doors in the times that we're in, they're going to be made known to man, right? They're going to be made known to everybody. Okay, and so let's go into how the Lord made this situation known. All right, because basically what was found out, and why this is so important, and why I found it interesting, is because he's just one influencer. All right, it was a lot of influencers at the meeting with Netanyahu, and we know there's only two reasons, right, that you would be meeting, right, with a war criminal, in their words, right. So, I don't have to say no more on that because I ain't trying to really come from that aspect because they're real strike my channel. I got too many of them joints already.
Anonymous source or attributing a quote or information to, a senior leader in the Israeli government, that is a very different, Chatham House rules is very different. We're going to get to that. But let me show you some of.
Matter of fact, real quick, Chatham House rules is basically what the meeting was supposed to have been held under. And the people thought that Tim Poole was with the regular people, right? But what you found out is he was set up by the elites, okay, and he's a part of their echo machine, right, to never bring out the truth of the matter, right? Never say anything bad about Israel, no matter what type of atrocities that they commit. Okay, so what's being shown here is basically, right, the people that are causing all the pain in the earth, right, has been behind the scenes putting people in places, right, to further echo that, while we're seeing the death that they commit and the genocide that they're committing, right. But it says the Chatham House rule is a system for encouraging open and candid discussions in meetings, especially those involving sensitive topics. It allows participants to freely use information shared in a meeting, but prohibits them from revealing the identity of the speaker or any other participant who made a particular statement. The rule is named after the Royal Institute of the International Affairs, commonly known as Chatham House, where it originated. Okay, so again, these people work in secrecy, right? They have hidden agendas, right? So they basically let you know that conspiracies is how they move, right? And another thing, don't be trusting these podcasters, man. These people get paid, right, to push a certain narrative, because people don't watch TV anymore, right? To become a star nowadays is not how it was. You don't have to go up through Hollywood, go through 4 movies, and all those things. No, people are becoming stars by how many people watch you on YouTube, right? And so these people have a large audience, so they're being brought out, right, to push a certain agenda, to push a certain narrative, right? So you can't trust these people. Just the same way I say about Anton, man. All right, Anton Davis, man. You cannot tell me that this nigga is not being paid by them. You cannot tell me, because he just pushes so-called black people too much to believe in Trump. That don't even make any sense. When the Bible, the same thing that he claimed says in Deuteronomy, that you don't vote for no other person that is not a part of your nation, not one of your brothers. That's in the Bible. So I'm not supposed to vote for another culture to rule over me because he has a different culture. So what he value and just the way he move and think is not going to be the way that me and my people move and think. But anyway, besides the point, Salakia, right? Getting back on point. Okay, so what we see now is basically these people got caught red-handed, and Kim Iverson reported on it, and Tim Poole is trying to deflate. He's trying to keep that audience, right? That he gained under the so-called being against the 1%ers, but come to find out, he's working for them.
Very different. We're going to get to that. But let me show you some of the 42-minute video he also did, which, by the way, Tim is very sensitive, obviously, about this because the majority of his viewers are actually against him on this issue. They don't think he should have had this meeting. They do think he's more pro-Israel in his defense. They question his integrity. And how we know this for sure. The video he posted, the 42-minute video that I'm going to share clips from, as of right now, this moment, there are 5,000 likes on the YouTube video, but there are 6.3 thousand dislikes on this video. He is being ratioed on his tweets. He's being ratioed on this video. His fans are not in agreement with him on this. They're more in agreement with me on this. So this is why I think he's being particularly defensive and felt like the need to put out numerous tweets, calling me numerous names, and making a 42-minute video. It's unfortunate. I like Tim. I've always liked Tim. I've been to Tim's, been on his show.
And that's the same pattern that these people, when, and this is how you know when people are getting paid or they have some type of sick agenda about the information that they experience, because when they get caught red-handed or when you actually get into the details of the information and you catch these people, they don't have a rebuttal, right? A lot of these people, once they get caught up in their talking points, they just look at you like you crazy, right? So just be careful out here, man. Like, it's hard to trust people anymore, all right? And we know that George Soros, right, was so-called good for that, right? If a goddamn, if it was a rally, right, and he wanted, if he wanted a particular agenda being pushed, all right, next thing you know, in the day of the rally, you got 300 people that are not even from your city there downtown in the area just for that time, just to be recorded, right, pushing an agenda, man. All right, so you don't know who these people work for, you don't know where they really coming from, right? And that's why you're not supposed to be listening to these people, man. You're supposed to be listening to the prophets, right? Because these people don't know what really goes on, or what's really going on. Half of these people don't even know that they're playing for the wrong team, right? Let alone that they're playing for the people who's going to destroy them, right? Right? Because the scripture says, if the Lord didn't speed up the time, there was no flesh left to be saved. So if, let's just say the Lord didn't come and interrupt the so-called white man and what he got planned for the world, do you understand that if the Lord did not intervene, right? If the Lord did not intervene, the so-called white man would destroy us all, including himself. Right, so these people truly, really don't understand just how detrimental, just how important, right? The prophets showing themselves, telling you the prophecy, and what the Lord is about to do to them. They just don't know how important it is for life to continue. Okay, because who's in charge right now is a mad scientist, and right now his magic works on the minds of the people, man. Right, his magic, his news, right. It works on the mind of the people. Okay, but this is Habakkuk. Let's get this in the NLT. Habakkuk, so like Habakkuk 2 and Habakkuk 2 and 15. It says, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth that bottle to him, and maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cups of the Lord right hand should be turned unto thee, and shameful spearing should be on thy glory. Okay, and that's what the Lord is doing to these so-called Edomites, man. I mean, to these so-called white people, man, who are known by the Bible name of Edom, right? Edomites. Okay, he is basically not allowing them, right, to fool the people anymore. Okay, every turn that they go, they get caught up. They being they being recorded, right? Cell phones is their worst enemy right now, right? But they get in NLT. It says, "What sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness." Right, man. And a part of their gloat is they will be conspiring, having people working behind the scenes, but in the public, they act like that they're just coming to these talking points on their own, right? But it's goes to show you that everything that they say in these news, everything that they push out on these internets and on these podcasts, they all have been in league, right? They all in the green zone, right? So they all going to say the same thing. So you're not going to get the truth, right? Right from the same people that's promoting a lie, man. Okay. Habakkuk 2:16 NLT. It says, "But soon it will be your turn to be disgraced." All right. And the clip I'm about to show you is basically it's going to show you that he got mad as hell, man. He started getting at her crazy, right? Because again, what she was saying, that his followers can see that he is pro-Israel. So you're not going to get the truth. And because of that, he is trying his best, right, to discredit her and all these other things. But nigga, you the one who accepted the meeting, right, with a war criminal. And then agreed to not say what went down or what happened in the meeting until the meeting was outed. And then he came out as if he was always going to tell everybody. Okay, but that goes to show you can't trust these people, man. All right? You cannot trust these people in the world, man. But it says, "But soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. Come, drink and be exposed. Drink from the cup of the Lord's judgment, and all your glory will be turned to shame." All right? So anytime these goddamn devils, right, is trying to do anything, they're being brought, they're being found out, right, to be liars, right? And they be found out to all be working under the same umbrella. Okay, so their answers is not truthful, authentic, none of that things. All right.
Tim, I've always liked Tim. I've been to Tim's, been on his show several times, and we bonded over being part Asian, both of us. And I still like Tim. I don't have anything against him. I am absolutely going to call out integrity issues in journalism when I see them, be they friend or foe. So I don't have a personal bent on this, but Tim certainly does with some of the things that he is, but I mean, he feels attacked, so I don't blame him. Let's go ahead and watch this first little clip from the 42-minute video, which you are free to watch the entire thing, of course.
I'd like to thank Kim Iverson for this. Admittedly, it's a slow news day, but I think we get an opportunity to expose what it means to be a grifter.
Yes, we will.
We've had Kim Iverson on the show. I was a fan for a while, but she seems to have gone off the deep end. I suppose it's a desperate bid for relevance, as is with many people.
Is your boyfriend struggling with ED? Let me tell you my boyfriend's secret. It's hard mints by him.
A desperate bid for relevance. I'm not the one who took $400,000 a month from a company without asking where they were getting their...
Woo! You see the type of shit that's what 400. This nigga was getting $400,000 a month. A month, cuz. How much? Hold on, 400,000. Two of those 800,000. Shit. In 6 months, you a millionaire plus. Way more than that. Shit, you about what? About 3 million in? 3 down there, 4 million. That's some change. God damn. Man, these people are wrong.
Money from. Seems like that would have been integrity journalism rule number 1. Find out where the hell the money comes from. And then you find out, whoops, it came from Russia. I'm not the one that defends the Israelis, that will not that balks at, if you remember this clip, the USS Liberty clip, where he's like, oh, we can't talk about this, right?
Dude, I'm concerned with having American aircraft carriers over there. Like, I keep being told about the USS Liberty. That's something with the Israeli government.
No,
Yes.
you should be careful about that.
Be careful about that. Be careful about that, okay? So calling me the grifter here, saying that I'm doing the bid for relevance, I'm not the one that took an Access Journalism meeting with Netanyahu thinking that it was going to be under Chatham House rules. It ended up not being. That does not, but Tim went into that meeting believing it would be, and believing that people would adhere to it, believing that the meeting would be entirely kept secret. And when he saw that it wasn't, he decided he needed to come out with it. But he otherwise agreed to this. How many other meetings has he had under Chatham House rules where he's willing to go, sit, get the information? And under those rules, you are unable to attribute any of that information to anyone at any. It's very different than an unnamed source. And
Woo, she is. Listen, this is beautiful, man. This is beautiful, man, because the Lord is allowing his own counterparts to bring out the scoop on these people, man. All right, which we've been new, man. We've been new, man, that you got them talking point heads. You niggas not right, man. You niggas not right, man. You a lot of these podcasts have turned into just news segments, man. Basically, like just news personalities, right? But they're still bought and paid for, right, by the same people who bought the news, right? There's only a handful of people, a certain amount of families that have money that can fund things. These people, these everyday people, they can't fund any goddamn thing. That's why they're willing to sell out over any and everything, right? Whatever they want to be done, they can always find somebody to do it, right? So that right there let you know who really run the world, right? And we've been telling you that the people who run the world is about to get put down, right? They're about to lose their power because God of the world, right, telling them that the times is up, and y'all come against us. It's just but you think though that somehow, some way, that these people are going to do right by you, right? That these people want your best intentions regarded, right? This nigga was getting $400,000 a month, bro. Wow, bro, that is crazy, bro. Like, it ain't enough you can do. Like, what type of job do you do where, like, you can make that much money a month besides you owning things that doesn't stop calculating money never? Meaning like a Walmart 24/7, you know, that's like always bringing in money, always. Whoa. Anyway, last scripture, man. Then we're gonna close it out, man. But this is beautiful, man. Like, the Lord is exposing these people. They can't even get through a fucking hidden meeting anymore without the Lord allowing something from it to come out, you know. So hey, man, the water y'all by shooting our shot, man. All right, so he's shining light in this place, right? And they can't get any refuge. But this is Psalms 83:2. It says, "For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up thy head." Right? And when you go into that word tumult, goes into a loud confessed noise, especially one that's caused by a large mass of people. Right? So these people, so-called white men, come up against us, against you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? To tell you who you are, right? You ain't the children of the Lord, but you're Mexicans and you black, right? They have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones, right, man? Because they know exactly who we are, right? But they call us anything but the children of the Lord. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance." And how they do that? By taking that name off the true Israelites, right? Hijacking it, right? And then putting it back on themselves, right? NLT, it says, "Come," they say, "let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence." Right. And how are they doing that? Right? How are they wiping off the existence of the original Israelites. How they doing that? By seizing any proof, right? Hid all proof, right? And then they spent years, a couple hundred of years, right? What they like to call re-educating us, right? Because remember, we was the only group of people that couldn't read. And if you got caught reading the Bible, you got hung to death, right? I wonder why is that? Okay? Because they wanted to keep us from our heritage? Yeah. Sound about right. Right, man, because the Bible explains who is who, right? So there goes to show you, okay, that the Lord is letting you know that these people been doing this, man. This ain't nothing new with them. Being behind closed doors, right? Come up with one agenda. When they leave, they spread back out over the country, right? And then they say the talking points that they all met and agreed upon. Okay, so you'll never get to the truth dealing with these people. All right, but with that, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Kakadash, Shalom.